Hi, my name's Kathleen and I welcome you to a video from Road to Freedom Life Coaching. And what I wanted to talk about today is the energy of guilt. So many times in life, this is a very difficult energy for us as humans to understand. And it can come about in so many different ways. But what I wanted to talk about today was when your family is used to living a certain way. You know, you have certain rules in the family. You go to certain stores and you go to certain churches and you like this school over that school. Now, when the time comes when someone in that family makes a decision to go a different way, a lot of times that's very fearful for families. That brings up so much fear. And so it takes some stepping back and paying attention to what is going on with this dynamic here. And many times it's not really guilt we're being handed, it's being presented as guilt, but underneath all that is shame. So, families are like a tribe. And we get very used to people in the tribe doing the same thing over and over and over. We go to the same stores, we go to the same schools, we go to the same church. And when someone changes that, when someone decides that that's not what they want anymore, that they've learned something different and they want to do something different. Well, this can be very, very difficult for families to be able to handle, especially if this is something that has been in this family for a very long time. But it's very important to understand what's really going on here. And so you need some quiet time to step back and really look at what is being presented to you. Because if we don't step back and take a look at this when this happens within our family, or even it could be a family of friends, then fear is the first thing that comes forward. And when we're feeling fearful, we can't really understand much of anything. When that emotion of fear jumps up, it's almost like it just scrambles our brain. And I think part of that is because we are so afraid of loss and afraid of not fitting in. And this can be very difficult, these feelings. You can feel very alone and forced out. And so what happens many times is we allow others to overstep boundaries with us. Now, our loved ones will always be our loved ones. But sometimes out of fear, they can be very out of place saying things to us. And so we have to understand, really look at what's going on here, and really look and see if that's what's going on. Has fear set in? Because it's such a stretch when a family has lived away for a very long time, and this child comes along and grows up, and now this child is saying, oh, I want to do something different than the family is doing. Well, the family becomes very afraid, and there are a couple different reasons. One reason is it's a fear that comes up that they're going to lose that family member. Another feeling that comes up is jealousy. And I don't even think people realize that they're jealous, but they're like, that person, how can they be free like that? That's just not possible. And another part of it that can be confusing for families is how happy the person who is doing something different seems. That can be a bit confusing to the family members. And so There are many times when our loved ones will overstep boundaries because they are afraid, and they're afraid for those different reasons. Afraid of losing us, afraid, many times they're afraid, and it can have to do with like a religious belief. They can maybe believe that if we don't do certain things, then we won't be with them on the other side. Sometimes it can be something as far as eating. If you don't eat like we eat, then how are we ever going to feed you at family functions? And so many times our loved ones will overstep their boundaries, and they will use love as an excuse to do that. So what do we do if this happens? Well, first off, we have to understand that's absolutely normal behavior, and we've probably all done this. Because when someone we love does something different, it can bring up a fear in us. We don't want that separation with our loved one. And so it's a false belief that we all have to do the same thing in order to be in a loving family. And so if we are the ones who have done that, we really need to look at what we've done, and we need to take a step back, and we need to apologize for what we have done. Because what gives an individual joy and happiness can change from time to time in their life. And we need to allow our loved ones and our friends the freedom to experiment and to see what matches with them and what brings them joy. They're free to do that, and we are free to do that. And I think when someone does do something different in the family or maybe in a friendship circle, the very first energy that will come up is fear. And usually when that fear comes up, people tend to go on the attack, and they will use love as an excuse to do that. So what do we do about this? How do we handle this in our families? Well, the first thing we have to do is we need to be clear ourselves on what brings us joy. So we really need to look at our life. Does this way of living bring me joy? And if it doesn't, then we need to look at some other ways. Many times in families, we get used to just one thing, and it doesn't really match with everyone. And so that person who is feeling uncomfortable in certain situations and really is longing for something else, it really takes a lot of courage for them to stand up to the people they love and say, I'm not happy with this, and I want to be happy inside, and I need to find what makes me happy. And that can really bring up a lot of fear with people. So what do we do in families when that happens? Well, the first thing we need to do is find a time and a place to talk one-on-one with those who are feeling frightened with some decisions we have made of perhaps doing something differently. And if we can help them to understand this has nothing to do with our love for them, if we can help them get to that place and calm their fears, sometimes that helps. But sometimes it doesn't. And so what do you do if that's the situation? Do you then back down and do what everybody's always done, and that is do the same thing and don't learn anything different, and just go back to what the family always has done? Well, that's certainly one thing that we can do, but that's not going to make us happy inside if that's truly something we are not matching with. And this, I know it's sounding maybe in a way like I think this is an easy thing to do. And in a way it is, and in a way it's not. But there are some things that we have to understand first to get to the point where we can make decisions. And the first thing we have to understand is we come here with all the happiness we could ever use on earth already in here. It's already there. There are just things in life that trigger it and allow that happiness to come bubbling out. So we are the ones responsible for our own happiness, our own peace. So if you love someone and that someone is very unhappy with the choice that you've made in your life, that has to be left to them. You cannot make them happy. The happiness that we feel here on earth comes from in here. Now we can share it with others if that matches, and that works beautifully sometimes. But it is not your responsibility or my responsibility to make someone happy. What is our responsibility is to find out who we genuinely feel happy and joy with, who we love. We need to find these things out so that we put ourselves in situations that we are around people we match with and people we feel joy and happiness with. Now, does this mean that we stop loving our families or stop being around our families or our friends if we're not matching with them anymore? Of course not. That's not what I'm saying. Unless our friends and our families cannot give us the freedom to make choices as an adult and to be happy for us that we can make a choice. If it's going to cause them so much pain, a choice we have made, if they're allowing that to happen to themselves, because we are not doing that, that is a choice they have made internally. Now, if being around them causes them, us being around them causes them that much pain, then sometimes in life we have to step back and we have to make a choice to love people from afar. And it's so much better doing that and loving them and sending them love and sending them respect for whatever it is they want to do, instead of being in a position where you are having to argue about the freedom you have in your life to make choices, because that's never fun to do with family and friends. So if it's a decision to make that, well, if I'm going to be around these people, they're going to continue to try to make me feel guilty and feel bad about the way I'm living my life, then there comes a time when you have to make that choice to say, I will love you from afar. I will never stop loving you. But you have to respect me and you have to respect my life in order to be in my life, in order to be around me often. Now, you don't have to like what I'm doing. You don't have to want to live the way I'm living yourself. But you surely have to respect me as a person if you want to be in my close circle. And that sounds perhaps simplistic because it is a very brave thing to do. When you have a family and friends, you just love these people forever, and you know you're living differently from them now. It causes such a feeling of fear within them. And there's nothing that you can do about that. There's nothing I can do about that. That person, those people have to take care of that themselves. What we continue to do is love them and respect the choices they are making, because that's not up to us to make. But if those people cannot come to a place of respecting our choices and being kind and speaking kind words, if they cannot do that right then it's better to back off and give each other some space and always, always let each other know, I love you. I really, really love you. But this is not okay right now. I don't want you coming at me with a bunch of judgment. And so if you cannot stop that, if you cannot be comfortable around who I really am, then I think it's better that we love each other from afar and not be in close circles anymore. And it really is important to stick up for yourself and do this, because our families and friends have learned, we've all learned, that we can use the word love, but I love you, so I can tell you this, to really step over some, I don't really like the word boundaries, but boundaries, if you want to say it like that, that is not healthy for them to do. And so it is up to each one of us to live our life how we feel the best and the happiest with. And it is up to us to let our loved ones know that we do love them, but we also love ourselves, and we will respect ourselves enough to not put ourselves in situations with other people if they cannot respect us and respect the decisions we've made. If they are going to keep coming from a place of fear and use love as an excuse to say unkind things or to be mean in any way, then we have the choice to tell these people or this person that we will love them from afar, but we respect ourselves enough to not allow that close to us, and that we look forward to the time when there will be mutual respect. Now, sometimes our family members or friends might get very, very angry about this, but you have to understand what is behind anger. What's behind anger almost 100% of the time is fear. So sometimes they just need a little space to step back and to watch us a little bit and to see that, we still are doing okay. Sometimes they just need some time, and it's a very good thing to do that. But we never stop loving, and we never stop being kind. There's never a reason to go shouting in someone's face or to be mean like that. There's no reason for that in life. People need to respect each other. And being a member of a family does not take that truth away. We should be showing more respect to each other, not less, in a family. So if you are someone who has made a decision, and this decision brings you a lot of joy and a lot of peace, and your family members or your friends are really going to have a hard time with that, I want you to know that's okay, because our loved ones will always love us. And there will be a time where they will get over that fear, and they will be able to communicate in ways that are respectful and loving again. So we don't ever want to cut anyone off, unless this is someone who is physically abusing someone, or one of those situations. But if someone is just unhappy with the choices we've made, we can give each other time. You don't have to make a decision to cut someone out of your life because they're scared right now, because a lot of this does come from deep feelings of fear. And this fear of losing you and you not being with them here or maybe even on the other side is huge. And so if we can just give people some space and love them enough to let them know that we do love them, and because of that, we are not willing to be in any discussions where there is any disrespect on either side. And so if they're willing to learn about the way that you are living now, that would be wonderful. But if they're only willing to get information because they want to use it to attack you, that is not okay. And so as our family and our friends get used to us living a new life, Sometimes it can be an amazing learning experience for everyone involved. And it's wonderful to see those walls of fear come down and to watch family members come back together in love and to be peaceful with each other and to not try to take over someone else's life and tell them what they need to do and how they need to be living. It is the most wonderful thing to see families and friends come back together in mutual respect. And one of the beautiful things about that is the fact that there is so much learning that can go on then when new energy comes into our relationships, when all this new information and new truths, and it can provide some wonderful conversations. And so if you are going through this right now, where you are an adult who has chosen to live a different way from the mindset of the tribe mindset that the family or friends have had for a very long time, have patience, love them, but at the same time, don't allow people to come into your life and take it over and tell you how you should feel about anything. That is too personal. That's in here. And so sometimes the kindest thing to do in a family or friend situation is to tell them we need some time apart, that we won't ever stop loving them. But until there is mutual respect, there will not be any get-togethers. There won't be lengthy phone calls. In fact, if people come at you with an aggressive attitude on the phone or even in person, you can let them know right away, that's enough. I love you. I'm done with this conversation now. And that's okay to do. You have every right to live your life in a way that feels the best to you, in a way that's exciting and new things to learn. And eventually, these people you love so much, they will see you for who you really are. And they will appreciate that you were brave enough and you were intelligent enough to allow yourself to really be who you are. And that can't ever hurt a family or a friendship. To be stronger and to be more loving, that can only make things better. So if you're someone who's going through this right now, and it's tearing your heart up because you don't want to hurt people, it's okay. It will be okay. Just keep doing what you know feels right and keep loving others, and do not get yourself in a situation where you are having to yell to get others to listen to you about what's important to you and what you believe in. You don't ever have to be in that situation. If people are not being respectful, you can lovingly back away and let them know that if they want to be in your life, not just loved in your life, but actually in your life, they will have to be respectful to you and your belief system. But also let them know that you will always love them and nothing can change that. I know this can be a real challenge in life. I know that many times when you do something different, family and friends can hand you a lot of guilt, and they can really try to shame you. It's okay to not have to have that in your life. You can back away and you can still love people, and that is perfectly okay. So if you're going through this right now, I send you all the good energy I can to help you stand on your own 2 feet and be true to yourself. And I hope you can do this. And I know it's not the easiest thing in the world. Believe me, I know that. But be brave. You can do this. It is possible. And sometimes amazing things happen because one person decided to follow their heart. So I wish you all the love and all the good energy for living the life you wanted to live. Blessings, my friend. Again, this is Kathleen at Road to Freedom Life Coaching. And I always leave my web address if you'd like to get a hold of me, if you just can't handle this and you need help. Bye for now.